Welcome to the on-record portion of the Rockbridge Report. I'm Paige Gance, here with Sammy Moore, Director of the Lexington Chamber of Commerce. Thank you for joining us today, Sammy.
Glad to be here.
Could you tell the viewers a little bit about what the Chamber of Commerce does for the community?
And I will, not to correct you, but we've changed our name a few years ago because we represent all three jurisdictions. We call ourselves, we used to be the Lexington Rockbridge County Chamber of Commerce, but now we call ourselves the Chamber of Commerce serving Lexington, Buena Vista, and Rockbridge County. So politically correct, but we do represent all the districts. About 3 years ago, Buena Vista had their own little small chamber, and they've kind of gone back into us. So we represent the whole business community. So it gives us that opportunity to work with everybody. So we are a regional Chamber of Commerce, even though the importance of Lexington is very key because we do know that Lexington is the epicenter of the county. So
what was behind the decision to change the name? How do you think you better serve the community by representing all of them as a unit?
It's a good question because the name change became when Buena Vista became part of it. So I mean, instead of being, and our web page is still, I like it, it's lexrockchamber.com. Not to be confused with Let's Rock, but Lex for Lexington, Rockbridge County. So we still use that presence, but to be inclusive of all of the three jurisdictions, as I said. But the main thing is that my line is always, business people don't care about boundaries and territories and cities. Business people are out doing business. So to work for all three jurisdictions is really what we should be doing. So that's pretty much the pat answer to that.
So we've just had the holiday parade, and that's something that's sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce, correct?
Well, sponsored through, again, that's part of what you and I have talked about before. There's a program. There used to be a Lexington Downtown Development Association about 5 years ago. They went away, and that program is now being run through the chamber. It's financed through the city. It's kind of a complicated thing, as I think I was telling you about talking to the mayor earlier, trying to figure out how all that works, but so people aren't confused. But the office, Lisa Markham is the director, and she runs that, and she works for downtown Lexington. And she works for all the businesses, but she works through the chamber office. So that's kind of, it's sometimes even confusing to us, but that's kind of where that whole program developed into. So saying all that, the activities, and basically LDDA kind of had two different arms. One was an economic development and one was a promotion aspect. And we kind of took over that promotional aspect. So yes, the candlelight processional and the Christmas parade and the 4th of July and all those type events are run through Lisa's position. So indirectly, I gave you a long answer. So yeah, I guess you could say the Christmas parade is ours. So.
Mm-hmm. And so how do local businesses get to participate in the Christmas parade? Like they submit?
Just give us a call. It's one of those things. It's after putting it through that, nobody has any understanding. If you're standing on the street watching the Christmas parade, or if you're watching the Macy's parade, always think of the people behind the scenes, because it is an incredible amount of work and a lot of time organizing, putting together, getting people to come. It would boggle your mind if you knew how much work and effort went behind. I know it's a simple thing, but just getting that over last week, it's quite an event to put on. So it takes a lot of people. Lisa's contacting them, people are contacting her, so it's interesting. I guess the one thing that when you all are gone on Thanksgiving break, you all miss, which is, I think, a very unique type of activity. We do what we call the candlelight processional, which is always the Friday after Thanksgiving. A couple guys in town came up with that idea about 12 or 15 years, and I remember the first couple years we'd have like 25 people, and now it's grown into like 400 or 500 people show up. But they'll start at the cemetery, they'll walk down Main Street, come by up Washington, and end up in Hopkins Green. And they'll just sing Christmas carols. The mayor comes and she lights the Christmas tree. There's luminaries all around the park. there, which is very interesting because it's a fundraiser for the SPCA. Every luminary has a name of a pet or something that somebody's bought in memory or honor of. So it's something that a lot of people in the WNL community are gone, so they never see it. But it's a very unique type of thing, and it just kind of kicks off the Christmas season, and that's why the mayor cuts on the Christmas tree and things like that. So, that one's a little different than the Christmas parade. I think everybody has a Christmas parade, but the candlelight procession was actually picked up this year by one of the medias, which I never realized that. Yeah, I don't think a lot of communities have that type of thing.
And how important do you think the holiday season is for local businesses?
Very. Having a meeting this morning, they'll all tell you it'll range the next, I guess since we're already pretty close to Christmas, probably the 3 weeks prior to where we are to the 3 weeks we have yet to go to Christmas can make anywhere from 35 to 70% of their business. I mean, some people will tell you they will do 70% of their business in that 2-month period. So it's very important.
So I'm assuming that the Christmas parade is a way for businesses to promote their holiday sales. Do they do any sort of advertising?
No, not really. Christmas parade is more a community event. I mean, there's some businesses, and they're not out promoting. I mean, they're out any kind of, and I understand what you're saying, but I guess I would call it marketing. We don't have banners on the street or anything saying "come shop here" or whatever, because it's some businesses, a lot of floats, churches. I shouldn't say this, but Lisa calls it sometimes the NASCAR nation. We have more cars than we have floats and bands, but it's the VMI core marches, so there's a lot of that involvement in it. So, but the Christmas parade is really pretty much just more of a social feel good.
So speaking of marketing, though. Earlier, a few months ago, there's started this initiative to change the sign ordinance to allow businesses to display websites and phone websites and other URLs on their window signs or signs projecting from their building. Can you give us an update on how close that is to being passed?
Well, I'm not sure how close it is, but there was a very interesting meeting last Thursday, which was December 1st, with the ARB and the Planning Commission just to discuss that whole issue. And it was entertaining and educational, to say the least. A lot of conversations are out there. It gives us an opportunity to see some value because they're all looked at differently. The signs that are perpendicular to your window versus the ones that are more vertical that stick out in the streets, and even the windows about signage. So there's going to be a lot of discussion. I was very kind of excited after the meeting because I think it was, you understand the signs that kind of stick out in the streets, what I would call is a branding piece. If it's Virginia born and bred or if it's somebody like that, I don't really see a phone number or something being on that or a website. But I mean, there's a lot of opportunities to explore a better way of doing it. And we had a meeting this morning and we're going to meet because neither one of those groups are going to get together. They decided till after the holidays. So the chamber's going to kind of slip in there right now and try to be as proactive as we can in the next couple of weeks to have some meetings to kind of look at some guidelines, what we'd like to see, maybe be proactive, because I think there's a window of opportunity here to define but really change what you're trying to do. Branding your business versus advertising your business, and they're two different things. So.
So what is the Chamber's position as of now in terms of whether these should be allowed and in what form?
Well, I mean, surely ours is pro-business. We're trying to do, but we understand the aesthetics and we want it to be in good taste. The ARB plays a very important role in Lexington to keep things historical, to keep the colors and the sizes, those things we respect and understand, to keep Lexington to look like it does. You know, we're not neon and we're not into that kind of stuff, and I respect that. But you've got to be also flexible enough to give the businesses an opportunity. You know, there's a lot of discussion about, you know, is it is it walking traffic you're trying to do, or is it driving traffic? And we all know if you're driving down Main Street, it's going to be hard. You're surely not going to be able to get a URL or a code like that off of a building, or you're not going to probably be able to go and get the phone number. So a lot of those discussions about that type of strategy and how to do it. So, but I can tell you, we're all about the business aspect of it.
And have you seen the Emory and Henry sign that sort of kicked off this whole debate? And if so, what's your opinion?
Emory
of
and
it?
Aminette. Emory and Henry's another WNL competitor there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Greg is on our board, Greg Aminette, and so I've had a lot of conversations with them about their signage, and so we're ongoing working with them on it. And as I've told them, I think this will it'll be advantageous.
And their sign is still up, despite.
Yep, I think it is. I think it'll surely be up through the holidays anyhow.
Are there any other recent developments that the Chamber of Commerce that have come to light recently?
Well, as I've told you before, there's a lot of good conversations going on. I think 2012 will be very interesting. I think there's going to be a lot of new proposals on the table from economic development, business recruitment, things of that nature. So I'm looking forward to it, very excited. I told you I would get to you as soon as I could when it came with the information there available, but we're still moving forward, and I would just tell everybody to stay tuned. I think there's good things to happen in downtown Lexington.
Well, we certainly look forward to hearing about these new developments. What types of businesses are you talking about when you talk about proposals? Anything in particular?
Well, in recruitment, I mean, it's the things that we talk about, the tween stores, the shoe stores. Everybody has different opinions. Some of them, we're going to go into the recruiting business, so we'll see where that goes.
Well, we look forward to hearing more about it and updates on the sign ordinance after the New Year's. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you viewers for tuning in. I'm Paige Gance.